at some place for like 20 minutes tops and show our posters, wear, okay, colorful t-shirts, but nothing, you know, too provocative. We would be silent in order not to enter in any discussion with counter-demonstrators, which we knew from the beginning would be there. All the relevant state agencies and police were informed. Also, we had quite active support from international community, the embassies, the ambassadors. They tried to advocate for this demonstration from all sorts of different levels, publicly and privately, with the state. And state officials promised to keep the demonstration as safe as possible and to do their best, guarantee maximum security. And they said it to the organizers in presence of the international diplomats that were present in the meetings. Also, a very important thing is that for the first time in Georgian history, 3 ministers came out publicly saying that they didn't come out as gay, unfortunately, but they came. Yeah. So they issued public statements about the May 17th demonstration, saying that each and every citizen, regardless of their sexual orientation or whatever, should have their rights protected, and the right to assembly and manifestation is one of the rights that are guaranteed to all of the Georgian citizens by the constitution. So the state will do everything in order to help us use this right and actually do something with it. So it was the Minister of Justice, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Prime Minister, once more. At the same time, we started, well, yeah, needless to mention that this time the event was highly publicized. There was a press conference held, and ECHO was also there, and media was covering it. But the problem is that we were trying to emphasize that it is not a gay pride. Well, for me personally, every single LGBT demonstration is a gay pride, because that's how it started in the beginning. Like, it started with the Stonewall riots, and it started as claiming your political and civil rights. That's the gay pride. But we tried to emphasize that it's not a gay pride, it's a demonstration that is about discrimination. We're trying to show that we are discriminated against, and the society and the government need to see it. Media, however, continued to spread the word about the gay pride. Sometimes the journalists would themselves say that it is a gay pride. Sometimes they would invite some homophobic public or political figures that would say it's a gay pride, and the journalists would never correct them. So in the heads of the population, it was a gay pride. Church started being particularly active. Several priests, high rank or low rank priests, started issuing public statements and video statements saying that, you know, we Georgians should not let the gay pride happen on the holy land of Tbilisi, where blah blah blah. And also 2 groups appeared. They are closely affiliated to church. One is a group called National Front. This group, as they say, it's an NGO. I really have no idea who funds them. This is a group which is anti-women's rights, anti-gay rights, anti-Turkey, like basically anti-any religious or ethnic diversity in Georgia. Like they're against everything. So this National Front, they announced that they would be, you know, coming to the Parliament building to protest against us on May 17th, and also another group of people who were just released from prison as political prisoners. Now, what happened was that in 2010, was it? So either 2009 or 2010, there was this group of people who forced themselves into one of our TV channels, Caucasia TV channel, Caucasia. They like beat people up, and there was a discussion about a very scandalous book that a young writer wrote. And most people perceived it as something insulting for the Georgian Orthodox Christian religion. So they forced themselves into this TV channel, that they broke stuff, they beat people up, and several of them got in prison. This year, those guys from that group, and they belong to the Orthodox Parents Union, they were released as political prisoners, and they became very active. Like, the first issue they came out to protest against was the gay rights. Like, out of prison, straight ahead, go kill gays, things like that. These guys, they were protesting in front of the Radisson Hotel while Identova and the Women's Initiative Sporting Group were holding their press conference. And police was there all the time, they were protecting our activists, and we thought it would be totally fine. So we were actually, we were waiting for some organized form of counter-demonstration against us, but we never thought it would get to this. This guy, we're joking that he's Spider-Man's cousin or something like that, because this guy was so high on the aggression and so excited that he was standing on the car and he just jumped, trying to catch this minivan where several of my very dear friends were in at that time. The demonstration was to be held at 1, and the gathering time was supposed to be 12:45. The evening before, organizers at Identova were called by a contact person from the police who asked them to actually gather at 12 instead of 12:45, while assuring them that the demonstration would still be held at 1, but they were like, there's like traffic jams and people will be arriving late, so it's better if you start gathering earlier. And so there would be no need to inform any internationals that would be arriving, because they would be arriving exactly for the beginning of the demonstration. At 12:45, around that time, police started evacuating us because the mass of people somehow broke through the police line. At the same time, another group of activists from the yellow minivan, they didn't even make it to the spot where the demonstration would be held. And they were trapped on the square, which is basically down the road from there. They were standing there for I don't know how much time. And only after a friend of ours from UN Women arrived and told the police that she's from UN Women and do something now, they started evacuating them, but well, you know how it ended. Like this minivan, it took it a very long time to go past that crowd. This minivan had no windows left. The windshield was completely broken in the end. 3 people from the minivan got a brain concussion. Others had massive bruising and not needless to talk about the psychological stress. So it's still under a huge question mark what actually happened on May 17th, because my personal doubt, and some of my activists share that doubt, is that the government didn't really want us to hold the demonstration, but they didn't want to offend the international community either, of course, having promised that many things. What happened afterwards was that the civil society, now it became clear to the civil society that there's a massive uncontrolled aggression which could be spreading, in any direction, basically. So I cannot tell you how many TV shows were dedicated to the issue. However, media continued to play its very homophobic role in this, and most of the guests they're inviting to talk about these issues are outspoken homophobes, are politicians who have come out with homophobic statements more than once, public figures who are openly homophobic. Basically, they continue to spread that. A good thing that happened was that civil society, once again, they started a petition in which they call on the government to effectively and efficiently investigate the events that took place, to punish all the culprits, whether priests or just civil persons, regardless their status, This petition got more than 13,000 signatures in 48 hours. For Georgia, that's massive. Like, we're very lazy with petitions. We're lazy with lots of stuff. Especially going to demonstrations if it's not about beating up gays. And with petitions, like, people don't care, people don't understand that petitions can do anything. Like, we don't have that culture, like, of civil protest, so to say. So this was massive. At the same time, there was also, the backlash continued, of course, and there's this a group of, or club of young politologists that started working on a bill that should ban the gay propaganda, which is what happened in Russia and Ukraine. Like in Russia, in St. Petersburg and several other places, the so-called gay propaganda is banned. So basically you have no right to do any public events or educational even, or awareness raising campaigns that are about LGBT issues.
Or coming out publicly.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not that familiar with that, but the main issue is that, yeah. And so these guys and several other groups want the same thing to happen in Georgia, because in Georgia, the discourse is usually, well, okay, I'm okay with gays, but they should not come out publicly. And two civil society-driven demonstrations were held against theocracy. First was on May 18th, David also mentioned that. And the other one was held yesterday. And yesterday was, yeah, more around 600 people, I think, that showed up. So what is important is that this aggression was driven by priests. Mainly, because me, as one of the participants of the demonstration, I saw and experienced that aggression in myself. I saw priests cursing and using the words that, you know, a decent, well, person, polite person should not use, not like, and priests especially. Well, that is the common understanding. I saw priests trying to, the guy with the taburetka, he was trying to break the windshield of the bus that I was in. So I saw that guy do that, actually. With my bus, the thing is that we were like on the last, I was on the last bus with 4 other women activists. And while the first 2 buses left quickly, we were stuck on one of the streets with the crowd around us. Like, I can tell you that I barely died there. The only thing that saved us was that one of the priests thought that we were journalists because we were so few and because one of our friends had a camera. So he managed to get on the bus and show his people that he's inside and that we're journalists and they shouldn't, like, you know, kill us and throw stones. The windshield was broken. One or 2 windows were broken behind, and they tried constantly to open the doors and drag us out. Well, I was first about to thank him, but then his excuse was, you know, we're not that savage, we're not going to hurt journalists. And we were like, we're not journalists. Yeah, that was not a nice surprise to him, but he still was like, okay, never mind, like, and then we left. The conclusions that I can make from this is that Georgian government tried to walk on a very thin line between the church interests, or whatever they say that their interests are, and the international community and all the obligations that Georgia has, having signed a huge amount of international documents. It didn't quite manage to balance that on that thin line, because there's video footage showing how the police just let the people through their line, and it's not that they broke through. Well, of course, the investigation needs to establish whether it was the case or not, which I don't know whether they will do, but many people, after seeing the video footage, say that, yeah, it is like that, because people just started walking through the line and the police was standing there doing nothing. So, while, yeah, this one bullet is missing its sense, but the sense is that we are very actively used as an excuse for political speculations, because now we have the previous government, which is in a minority at the parliament, and they were often accused of being pro-gay, which is very surprising because they never moved a finger for our rights. And so there's this power struggle between the majority and the minority, saying they're blaming each other for what happened on the May 17th. The minority says you didn't manage to protect them. The majority says you were the ones who encouraged them to provoke those people. And then the church uses that as an excuse to show the government that it has power, it can mobilize people in a very short time. So yeah, that's the conclusion I have.